Am I the asshole for a harmless joke that made my boyfriend leave me? Okay, somebody please make it make sense, because I think my brain is about to short circuit. My boyfriend of 2 years, Lucas, is gone, and I don't mean he's out with friends, I mean gone. As in, I woke up this morning, sent him my usual good morning text, and it didn't deliver. The little green bubble turned a dead, mocking gray. His profile picture on WhatsApp, a blank, generic outline. I went to Instagram to see if he'd posted anything, and poof. User not found, he blocked me. He blocked me on everything. The reason for this nuclear level meltdown, the catalyst for this complete and utter erasure of our 2 year relationship. I called him a puppy. No, you didn't misread that. Puppy, not some vile, emasculating insult I screamed at him in a rage. It was a joke, a silly, off the cuff nickname at a barbecue. It's what you call something cute, it's affectionate. People call their significant others honey bear and sugar plum, and nobody bats an eye, but puppy is apparently a declaration of war. I'm sitting here in my apartment, staring at the empty space on the coat rack where his favorite jacket used to be, and I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. Just last week, we were planning a trip to the coast. He was sending me listings for cabins, complete with heart emojis. Now his toothbrush is gone and my calls go straight to a cold, robotic voicemail. How does a person just stop? How do you go from being someone's whole world to a blocked number overnight? Seriously, I need you to tell me. Am I the asshole for thinking this is the most insane, dramatic, unhinged overreaction in the history of breakups? Because right now, it feels like I just wasted 2 years on a man with the emotional resilience of a wet paper towel. Don't get me wrong, Lucas was perfect. On paper, at least. He's a financial analyst, the kind of guy who finds genuine joy in a well-balanced spreadsheet and actually understands his retirement plan. He's stable, kind, and has this quiet, steady presence that initially felt like an anchor in the chaos of my life. I'm a marketing director for a tech startup, which means my world is a cacophony of buzzwords, networking events, and performative energy. It's loud, fast, and built on a foundation of caffeine, irony, and the ability to turn anything into a witty, shareable moment. I saw us as the perfect balance. He was the calm, and I was the storm. I was bringing the color to his black and white world. I honestly thought I was good for him. When we met, his wardrobe was a sea of beige sweaters and sensible shoes. I saw him as a beautiful piece of raw material, a renovation project. I gently nudged him towards better-fitting jeans, jackets with a bit of an edge. He'd look in the mirror, a little uncertain, and I'd clap my hands and say, "See, there's a rock star under all that khaki." I helped him discover food that wasn't just a variation of meat and potatoes. I'd order the spicy octopus for us to share, watching his eyes widen in a mixture of fear and fascination. He had these quiet hobbies like building intricate ship models. I tried sitting with him once, got bored in 5 minutes, and from then on would affectionately call it his little old man time. I thought I was helping him come out of his shell, broadening his horizons. Looking back, I guess there were signs, little flickers of protest that I dismissed as him just being his usual, overly serious self. A few months ago, I made a joke to our friends about how his books were organized alphabetically by author. It got a good laugh. Later that night, he said quietly, "Hey, I'd rather you didn't make fun of the way I organize things. It's just something I like." I remember pinching his cheek and laughing. "Oh, honey, it's not making fun, it's adorable. It's one of your little quirks that I love." He didn't press it, just gave a small, tight smile and dropped the subject. Another time, he tried to explain the historical significance of a documentary he was watching, and I patted his leg and said, "Okay, professor, save the lecture for your students." He just went quiet and turned the TV off. I figured he understood. I thought he got that my teasing was a form of affection, my way of saying I saw all the little things about him. I never imagined he saw it as a constant, grinding disrespect. I thought he loved being my project. The scene of the crime was a barbecue at my friend Clara's place last Saturday. It was the perfect late summer afternoon, string lights twinkling, everyone a little buzzed on craft beer and Aperol spritz. My friends are my tribe. They're all in marketing, PR, or some form of creative industry. We communicate in a language of rapid-fire jokes, sarcastic jabs, and a healthy dose of self-deprecation. It's how we show love. Lucas, bless his heart, usually just found a comfortable corner in these situations, nursing a beer and offering a polite smile, a silent, handsome accessory to my social life. He was the grounding presence while I was the firework, and that dynamic worked for us. Or so I thought, but that day something was different. Clara's husband, Matt, was holding court about his recent, disastrous foray into cryptocurrency. Everyone was chiming in with their own half-baked theories and horror stories. Then out of nowhere, Lucas spoke up. He wasn't loud, but his voice cut through the chatter with an unnerving clarity. He calmly and methodically dismantled Matt's entire investment strategy, pointing out the market fallacies, the bubble indicators, the lack of a solid technological foundation for the coin he'd bought. He wasn't just repeating headlines, he was citing specific financial models and historical precedents. He did it without being arrogant, just laying out facts with the quiet confidence of someone who actually knew what they were talking about. For a moment, everyone was silent, genuinely impressed. Matt, who fancies himself a bit of an alpha, looked like he'd been slapped. Clara was staring at Lucas with this wide-eyed, newfound respect. And I felt a hot, weird prickle of something. Annoyance, embarrassment. It was like he'd broken some unspoken rule. He was supposed to be the quiet, supportive boyfriend, not the expert in the room. This was my stage, my friends. He was stepping out of his designated role, and suddenly the spotlight wasn't on me. I felt the social rhythm of the group shift, and I didn't know how to lead it anymore. So I did what I always do. I used a joke to reclaim the spotlight, to put everything back in its proper box. As everyone was murmuring their agreement with Lucas's points, I walked over, ruffled his hair like he was a kid, and laughed. "Oh, listen to our little puppy," I said, my voice dripping with performative, condescending affection. "He's learned some new tricks, so smart. Did you read a big boy book?" I looked around, expecting my friends to join in, to appreciate the punchline that put our dynamic back to normal. Instead, there was just silence, a heavy, awkward, cringing silence. No one laughed. Clara suddenly got very busy checking the grill. Matt just stared into his beer. It was the kind of silence that's louder than a scream. And Lucas's face just went blank. All the light, all the animation from his moment of confidence just drained away, leaving behind something cold and still. He didn't look at me, he just stood up, his movements stiff, and said, "I think I'll go get another drink." He walked away, and the party's energy just died right there. The ride home was a masterclass in suffocating silence. I tried to fill it, of course. I turned up the radio, chattering mindlessly about Clara's new patio furniture, about how Matt was an idiot for sinking money into something so volatile. I was trying to build a bridge back to him, to pretend that awful, frozen moment at the party hadn't happened. But Lucas just stared out the passenger window, his jaw set, his reflection a stony silhouette against the passing streetlights. Every word I said felt like it was being swallowed by a black hole. When we got back to the apartment, the silence followed us inside, growing heavier with every step. I finally couldn't take it anymore. "Okay, what is your problem?" I asked, trying to keep my tone light, playful. "You've been quiet all night. Are you seriously mad about that joke?" "It was a joke, Lucas." He didn't answer, he just went into the bedroom and started changing out of his party clothes. I followed him, my frustration mounting. "Hello. Are you going to talk to me?" The next morning, the confrontation I'd been dreading arrived, but it wasn't the explosive fight I expected. It was worse. I came out to the living room to find him sitting on the edge of the sofa, fully dressed, with two neatly packed duffel bags at his feet. He was perfectly calm. That's what scared me the most. There was no anger, no shouting, just a profound, bone-deep exhaustion in his eyes. "Vanessa," he said, his voice flat, "we need to talk." He laid it all out with the same dispassionate precision he'd used to dissect Matt's crypto portfolio. "I told you I don't like it when you do that," he started. "I've told you before, last night wasn't a joke, it was humiliating, you didn't just make a joke. You publicly dismissed me right after I contributed something of value. You treated me like a child, like a pet you were patting on the head for doing a trick. It wasn't about the word puppy, Vanessa. It was about the fact that you fundamentally do not respect me." I immediately went on the defensive. "Oh my God, you're being so sensitive." "It's how I am, my friends get it, it's just banter." "But I'm not just one of your friends," he said, and his voice cracked for the first time. "I'm supposed to be your partner. And a partner doesn't belittle the other person to make themselves feel bigger or more in control of a room. I can't do this anymore. I've been feeling this for a long time. Feeling like a project, like an accessory. Last night just made it clear that it's never going to change." He stood up. "I'm tired," he said, the words barely a whisper. "I'm just so tired of trying to earn your respect." I was stunned, speechless. I tried to argue, to tell him he was blowing things out of proportion, that we could fix it. But he just shook his head, picked up his bags, and walked to the door. "Goodbye, Vanessa." He didn't even look back. The click of the lock behind him was the loudest sound I'd ever heard. For the first 48 hours, I was pure rage. A walking, talking hurricane of indignation. How dare he? How dare he throw away 2 years over a single, stupid word? He was the one with the problem, not me. He was the one who was too fragile, too thin-skinned to exist in the real world where people actually joke with each other. This wasn't a breakup. It was a character flaw on his part, a glaring red flag I'd somehow missed. I blew up my friends' phones with a torrent of furious texts and frantic calls. My narrative was simple and polished. Lucas had a complete psychotic break over nothing. I painted him as this unstable, overly sensitive man-child who couldn't take a joke. Can you believe the nerve? I'd say, pacing my now cavernously empty apartment, the sound of my own voice echoing in the silence. He's acting like I cheated on him, it's insane. 2 years just gone because his delicate feelings got hurt. Most of my friends, to their credit, played their part perfectly. They were my echo chamber, my chorus of validation. Oh my god, V, that's crazy, Clara texted. He always seemed so serious, I guess we know why now. Matt called and said, his loss, babe. You're better off without someone who can't hang. You need a guy with a thicker skin. Their words were the fuel I needed. Every message, every sympathetic coo reinforced my belief that I was the victim here. I was the wronged party, the one who had to deal with this sudden irrational abandonment. I screenshotted their texts, rereading them like gospel proof that my reality was the correct one. I clung to that anger like a life raft. It was so much easier than feeling the gaping hole he'd left behind. Anger was active, it was powerful, sadness was just a void. I'd find myself replaying his final words, I'm just so tired, and a wave of fury would wash over me. Tired, he was tired, what about me? What about the work I put into this relationship, the effort I made to pull him out of his boring, beige existence? I gave him a personality, a social life. I introduced him to everyone he knew in this city, and this was the thanks I got. I convinced myself that his leaving wasn't a reaction to my behavior, but a fundamental flaw in his own character. He just wasn't strong enough for me, not built for my world. The anger kept the hurt at bay, a roaring fire that prevented the cold truth from creeping in. The dam of my self-righteous anger finally broke on Tuesday night. It was Amelia who did it. Amelia has been my best friend since college. She's not part of my flashy marketing crowd. She's a therapist, which means she's constitutionally incapable of just blindly agreeing with me. I had been avoiding her call, knowing she wouldn't just offer the easy platitudes I was getting from everyone else. But after 3 days of radio silence from Lucas, I was starting to crack and I needed to vent. I launched into my well-rehearsed monologue, hitting all the key points. The harmless joke, the insane overreaction, the shocking betrayal. I waited for her to chime in with the usual he's crazy, but there was only silence on the other end of the line. Amelia. Are you there? I'm here, she said, her voice gentle but firm. Vanessa, can I be honest with you? Of course, I said, though a knot of dread was already tightening in my stomach. That wasn't a harmless joke, she said. It was cruel, and honestly, it's not the first time. I've seen you do it to him for years. You treat him like he's your adorable, slightly dumb intern. You cut him off when he's talking, you make jokes at his expense to get a laugh, you constantly act like you're his superior. That puppy comment wasn't the cause of the breakup. It was just the public execution. Her words hit me like a physical blow. I started to argue to defend myself, but the fight had gone out of me. Her bluntness pierced through the armor of my anger, and for the first time, a sliver of doubt crept in. After we hung up, I wandered through the apartment in a daze. I started gathering the few things he'd left behind in his haste. A stray sock, a coffee mug, his worn-out copy of a history book. That's when I saw it. His tablet lying on the nightstand where he'd left it charging. He'd always been so careful with his things, he must have forgotten it in his rush to leave. My heart hammered against my ribs. I knew I shouldn't, it was an invasion of privacy, a terrible thing to do, but I was desperate. I picked it up. The screen lit up unlocked, he hadn't even had time to log out. And there, open in his browser, was a web page that made all the air leave my lungs. It was the site of a custom jewelry designer, a local artisan I'd once mentioned I loved. On the screen was a ring, an engagement ring. A simple, elegant sapphire, the exact one I'd pointed out in a magazine months ago and then completely forgotten about. The design was finalized, the order was pending. Next to the browser tab was an open document, a Google Doc titled PNW Trip. It was a meticulously planned itinerary for a 2-week trip to the Pacific Northwest, hitting all the spots I'd always dreamed of seeing. There were links to cabin rentals, reservations for restaurants, notes on hiking trails. The final entry for a date 2 weeks from now just said, proposal at Sunset Beach. Don't forget the champagne. I'm on the phone with Clara now, a glass of wine sweating onto the coaster beside me. The tablet is closed, hidden away in a drawer as if burying the evidence could somehow bury the truth. Yeah, I'm doing so much better, I say, injecting a breezy, unbothered tone into my voice. It's a performance, and I'm the only one in the audience. Honestly, Clara, it's a blessing in disguise. Can you imagine being married to someone that sensitive? Someone with zero sense of humor dodged a bullet for sure. Clara eats it up. Totally, V, you need someone who matches your energy. He was always dragging you down. Exactly, I say, laughing a laugh that sounds brittle and fake even to my own ears. Anyway, I've already downloaded Hinge. It's time to get back out there. The next one will be better, right? Onwards and upwards. We say our goodbyes and I end the calls. The forced smile instantly melts from my face. The apartment is dead silent, except for the hum of the refrigerator. I pick up my phone, my thumb hovering over the dating app icon before swiping past it, opening my photo gallery instead. I scroll back through months of pictures until I find the one I'm looking for. It's from his birthday a few months ago. We're sitting on a park bench, and I'm laughing at something he's just whispered in my ear. He's not looking at the camera, he's looking at me. And the expression on his face, it's one of pure, unguarded adoration. My finger traces the outline of his smile on the screen. I zoom in, trying to pinpoint the exact moment it all started to curdle, the moment the light in his eyes began to dim. I open my contacts and scroll to his name. The grayed out profile picture stares back at me, a monument to my own stupidity. My thumb hovers over the call button, a useless, reflexive gesture. A single hot tear escapes and rolls down my cheek, splashing onto the screen and blurring the face of the man who had been ready to give me everything. The man I had broken with a single stupid joke.